This is the Lexus LX, and I can probably guess what you're thinking. That might be the largest grille ever fitted to a modern SUV. I mean, look at it. It's absolutely huge. Now, this car is effectively the posh version of the LandCruiser 300 series, but there are several key differences and several cool features that set this car apart. So in this video, I'm going to talk you through the 7 things that you have to know about the Lexus LX. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, or maybe one of the cool features grabs your attention, like possibly the fingerprint scanner, jump into the comments below and let me know. Let's start with how the LX looks, which means we have to begin with the enormous grille. Now, honestly, I think BMW's designers have copped a lot of heat lately about the size of their new grilles, but it's almost as if the people at Lexus kind of looked at what BMW was doing and went, guys, hold my pieces of horizontal chrome. Honestly, it is huge. It's certainly bold, and it's certainly going to stand out in a car park full of Range Rovers and German SUVs. And interestingly, when I asked our in-house design consultant, Richard Filazzo, who was the head designer at Holden for many, many years, when I asked his opinion, he actually likes it. He prefers this treatment on the LX compared to other grilles throughout the Lexus model range. But while he said the horizontal lines do work in the chrome, he was less sold on the black mesh that you get in the F-Sport version of this car. The rest of the exterior design is actually pretty handsome for what is a big, boxy SUV. The LX is now lower and wider than before, and every version in the lineup gets a slim headlight design with LED lights inside there. Wheel sizes, they range from 20 to 22 inches, and in profile, it's actually very similar to a LandCruiser, isn't it? Which is no great surprise given the two share a lot of componentry, including a 2850mm wheelbase. But at the back of the car, there is a huge difference between the two because the LX scores this full width light bar, which I really love. That's different to the separated lights on the LandCruiser. Which one do you prefer, actually? I prefer the rear end of the LX, but jump into the comments below and let me know. And also, tell me your opinion on the grille at the front. It's very divisive. Do you think it's a hit or a miss? We haven't had an all-new Lexus LX in 14 years. So to put that into perspective, the last time we got an all-new one of these, Kevin Rudd had just taken over from John Howard as our Prime Minister here in Australia. So a new one is a pretty big deal, and this new car does bring some important improvements. Under the bonnet, we've got new engines, and also underneath, because the LX has moved to Toyota's new GAF platform, which is 20% stiffer, and also this car is now around 200 kilos lighter, so that is a big improvement. Now, the V8s that powered the old LX, they are gone, and in their place are a pair of twin-turbo V6s. So you get the same 3.3-litre twin-turbo V6 diesel as you get in the Toyota LandCruiser 300 series, but unlike the LandCruiser, in the LX you also have the choice of a petrol engine, which is a 3.5-litre twin-turbo V6. Both engines are paired to a 10-speed torque converter automatic. Luxury has long been a Lexus trademark, but inside the new LX, it is seriously opulent in here. I'm in the flagship ultra luxury and it feels huge, it feels modern. I'll admit it does feel very, very expensive in here. The first thing you notice is that there are more screens in here than I can poke a stick at. In the center console, we have two. We have the big 12.3-inch infotainment screen that controls things like your infotainment and also your sat-nav. And directly below it, we've got another screen measuring 7 inches. It controls things like the multi-terrain select system, which we'll get to a little bit later. But it also has some other operations for the climate control. I'm also very pleased to see that we still have some conventional buttons and dials, because hard-earned experience is that sometimes Lexus systems aren't the most intuitive to use. The instrument cluster is fully digital, measuring 8 inches as well, and every version of the LX scores a head-up display and Hey Lexus voice recognition. Now, you get loads of standard equipment and loads of safety systems, as you would expect in a vehicle of this price point, but there are two that I want to call your attention to. The first one is the standard sound system, which has 25 speakers. It's by Mark Levinson. Every version of the LX gets it, and it also has the most speakers that Lexus has ever fitted to a production model. The second thing I want to call your attention to is the fingerprint scanner that I mentioned in the introduction. This is really clever. It's integrated into the stop-start button here, and it can actually recognize your own fingerprint, and it's needed to start the vehicle. So effectively, it's a clever anti-theft device, and the system can store up to 10 different people's fingerprints, or all 10 of your own digits if you want, in case, I don't know, maybe you damage your finger or you're in a horrible accident and you lose one or something like that. If you do that, you can just use another finger to start your Lexus LX and drive to the hospital. Another benefit of this system is that it can actually store your own personal preferences to your fingerprint. So once it recognizes that it's you driving, it'll set things like your driving position to your own preference. Now you have multiple different seating configurations to choose from with your Lexus LX. In the entry-level version, you get a third row, so you can have seats for 7 people. But in the mid-spec variants, the third row is deleted, so you can only carry 5 people around. But in the flagship ultra luxury, which we are in now, you get something called VIP seats, which is basically 2 very comfortable captain's chairs back here. So even though you have one of the biggest vehicles on the road, you can only carry 4 people around. But the trade-off to that is if you are back here, you are riding in luxury, my friend. So these seats are very comfortable. They have added padding back here. They also have a 5-setting massage function, which I'm going to enjoy a bit later. You also get this big center console in place of the center seat. So you get a little screen down here and a pad to charge your phone wirelessly, plus another screen for each of the rear passengers. So these screens here, they measure 11.6 inches this time. You can access them via an HDMI cable, Miracast, or through Wi-Fi. But the real party trick is how far this seat reclines. And if I push this button here, not only does the seat recline itself by 48 degrees, but the front passenger seat also moves automatically, and it gives me 1.1 meters of legroom. And if I extend the ottoman back here, oh my goodness, it does feel very indulgent to have a vehicle of this size only carry 4 people around. But honestly, the space and the luxury and the comfort you get back here is better than the business class seats you get on many airlines. Now, if you want your high-riding 2.5-ton SUV to handle like a sports car, well, obviously you are delusional. But if you want some added sportiness, there is a version of the LX that has you covered. It's the mid-spec F Sport, and that gains little goodies like revised adaptive suspension, a Torsen limited slip differential at the back, and also tweaked steering for added sportiness. F Sport versions and above also get forged 22-inch wheels, which are lighter than the cast versions. And if you want to know if an LX is the sporty version at a quick glance, look for the black mesh grille rather than the chrome horizontal slats at the front. Every version of the LX in the 7-strong Aussie lineup can tow up to 3.5 tons braked. So even though I reckon the majority of these are going to spend all of their days trucking around the suburbs, it's nice to know it can roll its sleeves up when you want it to. And because it is based on the LandCruiser, it should be seriously capable off-road. It does have Toyota's multi-terrain select system with 6 drive modes, and it also has something called multi-terrain monitor, which uses 4 cameras around the car to show you what's going on underneath the car. It's something similar that we've seen with Land Rover's invisible bonnet, and it does throw the vision up on the center console. I actually think it's going to be just as useful dodging curbs in inner city car parks as it is dodging obstacles in the outback. If you do have $150,000 to spend on your Lexus LX when it arrives in April, you won't only be gaining a massive and luxurious SUV for your cash. You'll also be getting complimentary membership for 3 years to the Lexus Encore Platinum Benefits Program, which allows you to borrow another Lexus for up to 8 days and also gives you 8 valet passes at selected Westfield shopping centres. So it's big, brash, expensive, and at the top end, seriously luxurious. But what do you think about the Lexus LX? Would you have one over a German rival? Would you have one even over a regular Toyota LandCruiser? Jump into the comments below and let me know. And if you liked this video, don't forget to hit that like button and please hit subscribe.